Hey everyone, this is Brad from the Darksliders podcast with our first ever Darksliders short. So what these are going to be is it's going to be a clip from a previous episode, one of our favorite discussions, or a topic that was a big deal for the week or a new game that just came out. And it's just going to be a clip from one of our older episodes or our episode for the week. So those of you who don't have time to listen to the full hour-long podcast get a chance to listen to it. So this is a clip from episode 9 in our discussion of Mortal Kombat X.
Brad actually picked up one of those big game releases, Mortal Kombat X. I like that. I like that's called Mortal Kombat X. I don't think they've ever said Mortal Kombat 10.
I've never seen it with the 10 after it.
Yeah, no, they call it X, and I think that's pretty cool. So Brad, you picked up. We always talk about that we never pre-order games, and we never spend $60 on games anymore. This is another game you actually spent, $60 on, and you got, I think, day one, right?
I did. I did not spend $60 on it. Somebody who got me a Best Buy gift card randomly spent $60 on it. So
okay, I guess that makes more sense. All right, that does make more sense.
My birthday was a while ago, and I found a Best Buy gift card laying around, and I think it had like $50. So I was like, well, Mortal Kombat came out. I should probably take care of that.
Yeah. So what are your initial impressions of Mortal Kombat? This series, I have I think we talked last episode. I don't have a lot of history with, but I know you've been following the series since you were like 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go.
I really like this. This is a great game. So I've had it since Tuesday. So far, I've played through the whole campaign mode, 3 or 4 towers, and a little bit of other stuff. I went through and, of course, gave like every character like 2 or 3 fights just to see how I felt with every character.
That's a lot of playtime.
It's a decent amount. Yeah, I didn't really play anything else. I basically did just Mortal Kombat. So
okay.
That's about all I played this week. But so a couple of things. The first thing with this is it is a super smooth game. Just the fighting and everything in it is so fluid. Everything transitions between moves, even if they're not part of a direct combo, it's all timed out really well. You never get that kind of. And I've noticed. It's more in 2D. Fighters from old as opposed to kind of some of the more updated ones, but where there's like, okay, I tried to punch, but I wasn't quite done with the other thing. It just, everything feels really good when you're playing it.
Oh, it's really snappy.
Yeah, really snappy.
That's cool.
Which works really well. Just everything about the game. The combos are all more or less the same. There's enough new characters to mix it up, and all the special moves, of course, are there. Character-wise, there's a ton of new characters in this. Most of them are like, so-and-so's kid and so-and-so's kid. Like, now you've got...
How'd you like that? Like, I know that you're like a longtime fan, so I don't know if there's like characters that are missing because of that. Like, how do you like that there's just a shite ton of new characters?
There's a few missing characters, but again, I like the fact that Mortal Kombat's going to much more of a story-based fighting game, which I really personally like. So it's kind of cool. So the way the story works is the initial scene is set like in the same time as the last Mortal Kombat 9, and then basically after the first chapter of the story, which I believe was 10 or 12 chapters, after the first chapter, it's a 20 years later, and you see old freaking Johnny Cage there, and Johnny Cage is now leading a team of Cassie Cage, who is his daughter, Jackie Briggs, who is Jack's daughter, Kenshi's son, and I've got the other one. He's related to Liu Kang and Kung Lao somehow. I don't remember exactly how, though. I think it's like his nephew or something. But yeah, so cool. It's a really interesting way to kind of tie everything in there.
Yeah, I'm surprised they actually went back. I didn't realize that they did like a direct sequel. I knew it was a direct sequel to MK9, but I didn't realize like the beginning was a prequel, I guess, and then they do a huge time jump.
Yeah.
Is the time jump like? Is it kind of cool? Like, there's like a really big scene, and all of a sudden it says 20 years later or something like that?
Kinda. So the basic story is the big bad in this has this amulet, and he's a fallen elder god, so the elder gods are, of course, the protectors of the different realms, and each one looks over a different one. So he has an amulet, and Johnny Cage and Raiden and all of them kind of, take this amulet from him and hide it, and he goes and dies, and then 20 years later, everything's all cool. There's like a treaty with Outworld, all this other stuff, and then this amulet gets found again, and everybody's trying to get it to make sure that kind of peace stays there. So,
that's kind of cool.
The prequel type part ends with that amulet being taken, and then it flashes to 20 years later. Here's Johnny Cage's team that's trying to maintain peace with Outworld, and then they find out that, oh crap, this amulet's back.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's like a real story.
Yeah, it is a very, very real story from a fighting game, which I really like that NetherRealm has switched to that, because I mean, even if you look at Injustice had a kind of nonsensy story, but it still had like a very strict story mode of why these characters are fighting each other, why this is all happening. And of course, Mortal Kombat 9 had that too, which I really like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can you put? I never knew this because I didn't play MK9. Can you pull off fatalities in story mode or not?
No, you cannot. Just because I think just to kind of make it so that it's fluid, because a lot of the characters like come back. So like, if the second chapter you're playing as, I don't know, Sonya Blade, and you beat Sub-Zero, it wouldn't make sense if I burned his face off here, and here he is. An hour and a half later fighting somebody else. So there's no fatalities in there, which I think works. And I mean, I'm not playing Mortal Kombat for the fatalities. I know some people get super crazy about those, but it's just kind of an extra piece to it.
Yeah.
A couple other things, the CG in the story. So like the story is a lot of CG. I mean, it's like Metal Gear Solid, like gameplay to movie ratio. It's like at times like 5-minute scene, fight, 2-minute scene, fight, 2-minute scene, fight, 5-minute scene, fight. So it is pretty segmented, but if you get into the story, it works really, really well, just because the story is really well done. But I think if this keeps going the way it is for NetherRealm, where these games are working, I can really quickly see other studios trying to copy that. And if you don't have that well put together story, it is not going to be pretty, because there is a lot of just stuff between actual gameplay.
How's the story compared to? I heard that MKX was a bit shorter than MK9. Was that a good thing? Did they trim off the fat, or did you not notice that it was shorter?
I didn't really notice, and again, I would play the story for an hour or two, do a couple single fights, or run through a tower really quick, whatever it might be, but I didn't really have any issue with length or anything like that. I mean, I would much rather have a cohesive story than be able to say, this game took me 20 hours to beat. I'd rather have everything was fluid and made sense.
Okay.
Which it did. But yeah, a lot of just kind of cool little things with this. So like those CG parts to the gameplay, they always transition really well, where like the story and the CG automatically somewhere or another, and somewhere or another the camera always ends with your character on the left and the other one on the right, and then it just pans back to an arena.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And the way the CG looks like it's done in engine, so you don't even notice like a graphical switch at all. It's just like you're zoomed in on Scorpion's face, and then the camera kind of pans around and you see, I don't know, Sub-Zero standing across from Scorpion, and then it pans back to get into the fight. So there's never that like transition piece, which is really, really cool and really, really well done.
Do you play as the good guys and the bad guys, or is it just sort of?
Yeah, it's both. It's both, but it's a pretty in-depth story, so there's some double crossing going on in there, and you don't really know. But yeah, you play pretty much as a member of every faction. Like you play as Kotal Khan at one point, who's kind of the ruler of Outworld at the time this takes place. He's one of the new characters, but you also play as Sonya Blade. I think it runs through 12 of like the 20-ish characters in the game, so you get to play as the majority of them, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. That's pretty neat.
It really works, I think, if you've never played these, to serve as a quick introduction to some of the major characters. If you've never played a fighting game before, a lot of times you just, that guy's got the coolest design, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's, okay, here's 4 fights as Johnny Cage, here's 4 fights as Sonya, here's 4 fights as Raiden, so you got a handle on all the characters.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but overall, I really, really like this game. I'll be putting a lot more time into it. Overall, it's a great game. Really, really pretty game, and I know like a lot of stuff's made of the fatalities. I don't really get too much into that, but the fatalities, I said that weird, are pretty easy to pull off for the most part, and again, compared to some other older Mortal Kombat games, I think they're a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
Which, good, bad, whatever, it doesn't really matter to me. But there are some pretty gruesome ones in there that are...
Yeah, they looked gross from, like, the videos I saw.
Borderline nasty, yeah. There's a couple times where it's like, oh, I can do a fatality here. I think my wife's in the room. I should probably skip that. She might not like that.
Oh, did she see you pulling off, like, X-ray moves and stuff and go, like, what the hell are you playing?
I don't think so. She never mentioned anything. I had it on a couple times while she was in the room, but it was always during the story, so there were no fatalities or anything. So it wasn't anything like super over the top, like...
Yeah.
Because, man, there's some nasty ones in there, and I mean, there was a couple of them where it's like, that almost bothers me, and I normally don't get that with stuff. Like, at this point, I mean, I think we said before, I started playing Mortal Kombat when I was like 7 or 8, so it's like, I'm used to this stuff. But there were a couple in there, like, where just like, as I was watching, I was like, ugh, that doesn't need to happen in this. This would probably be a better game if that was not in here. I don't want to fight against that character anymore.
Oh god. Oh yeah, like I've heard Casey. I saw a video of like Casey Cage's X-ray move.
Yep.
I don't even talk about it. That made me. I was like, that made me feel things.
For those of you who haven't seen it, she's the daughter of Johnny Cage, who one of his moves in at least the past few, I don't remember how far back it goes, is the nut punch, and that is her X-ray move. And it zooms right in there and gives you a nice graphic detail of what's happening when you would punch someone in the nuts, which, yeah, you really don't need to see that, but...
Oh, that was horrible. I just can't believe that got approved at a meeting. I get it. You know, somebody came with that idea, and like they had to present that idea, and then 10 people had to agree, and then like a bunch of animators had to agree, and good lord.
You get really in depth in there and make sure everything was formed nicely.
Oh, man.
But yeah, the only thing, and this is something that doesn't bother me, but I know it's kind of been like one of the more news items with this game this week, is the DLC with this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not happy. This is something that doesn't bother me because I ignore it. And we talked about before, when we talked about this, how I probably won't get to play as Predator or Jason or any of the other characters, so I'm just not even going to bother downloading it. But there are a lot of people who are really upset about the DLC because it's kind of a weird setup that they have with it.
Yeah. Do you know all the details with that one or no?
More or less. I just know that, like, so the unlockable thing in this is the crypt, which is where you go on this weird first-person thing and you're walking through this graveyard, and as you play, you get coins, you unlock it, and there's like, I think it's like $10 or something you can unlock.
It's 20.
Is it 20? It's $20 to unlock everything, and it's not something you should pay $20 for, because it's like, oh, you unlocked a different brutality. Oh, you unlocked a concept art. You unlocked a song to listen to in the background for the most part.
I thought for that stuff, I can kind of, I don't feel like that. The $20 thing, I really don't feel bad about, because like nobody in their right mind is going to spend that money. And I think the people who would spend that money are actually. I do have a quick story with Mortal Kombat. I walked into a GameStop like right after work, and I was in a polo shirt, and then another guy comes in who obviously just got out of his like office meeting, and he is like in a suit, and he must have been like in his late 30s, and he comes in, he's like bought a copy of Mortal Kombat. And I feel like he doesn't have enough time to unlock the crypt, so he might actually spend $20, and he has the money to do it. So, I mean, yeah, and then the other microtransaction thing that people don't like is the easy fatality coins. Have you heard about those or no?
I've unlocked a couple, because you can get them in the crypt just as you're playing as normal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get like they're limited, so I think I've got maybe 3 of them the entire time I've played.
Yeah.
But, so the easy fatality thing is basically you unlock a coin or whatever it is, and instead of having to go through, I mean, the fatalities in this are pretty much easy enough that it's not an issue. I mean, they used to be where it was like left, right, up, down, X, B, X, B.
Yeah. I didn't like those.
It's more or less like forward, back, up, down, triangle, or something like that, where it's just like maybe 4 or 5 movements and a button.
Oh, okay.
Which are, I mean, I have yet to find one that I haven't been able to do, whereas, I mean, Mortal Kombat 3 and stuff, I mean, you had to go print out the list of button presses, sit it next to you, and sit there and like stare at it and get really angry as you try to do these and couldn't. But so the easy fatality thing is basically, instead of being able to do it normally, you just hold R2 and push like square or triangle, and it will do it for you.
But so you don't, I mean, that doesn't really affect gameplay or anything.
Has no effect on gameplay. I think it's just because Mortal Kombat gets so much press for fatalities and everything. I think it's just their way of saying, okay, we can show everybody this thing that's kind of unique to our game without making you learn these crazy, ridiculous, over-the-top button combinations.
Yeah, I don't think it's nearly as nefarious as other DLC. Like it's not like a free-to-play thing in the least.
No, not at all.
So I don't think it's that bad. I can see why people would kind of get rubbed the wrong way. If I hate playing a game and then there's like a lock button and I click on something, it's like pay whatever dollars. That just irks me, but it's not enough for me to like boycott the game or something ridiculous.
The one thing I will say is this has what I don't like is the menu screen looks really nice, and it's got like your 5 options, like 1 player, 2 player, online, so and so down the list. But at the top, it's got one is faction war, which we didn't really talk about. I haven't done much with that. The other corner is Living Towers, which is like their updated daily online piece. Yeah. And then right smack dab in the middle is press triangle for PlayStation Store, and Goro's one of the first downloadable characters, and it's just a big old picture of Goro, and it says PlayStation Store, press triangle. So
gross. I don't like
that's
that.
the only part. That's the only part where I really felt like it was like, okay, you're trying to get this to be, you're trying to sell me something. I didn't really find that at any other point because I pre-ordered it, meaning I went, I'll stop at Best Buy Monday night and or Tuesday afternoon, so I'll just put this order in on bestbuy.com Monday night. I got the pre-order bonus, so I think if you don't get Goro for free, I think in the character select, he's still there, and it just says press X to purchase on PlayStation.
Oh, that's okay. That is shitty.
Which is shitty,
cool.
but I'm going to deal with that because I got it already. So.
Oh, God.
Thank you for checking out our discussion of Mortal Kombat X. If you enjoyed that, there are full episodes of the Darksliders podcast available that feature much more discussions, news, and a lot more about some of the newest and greatest games out there. They're available on iTunes, YouTube, anywhere else you can find podcasts currently. Otherwise, feel free to follow us on Twitter at @Darksliders_pod. And thank you for checking out this episode of the Darksliders podcast shorts.